Good evening, race fans. It's Curtis from True North Racing. Tonight, we would like to welcome Chuck. He's been a large part of our team and has pushed us to be better. Just overall better. Take the time to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to click subscribe on our YouTube channel. Sit back, enjoy a few of our stories from over the years, racing, and off-road adventures. Stay tuned to learn what Dick-couragement means and what would Chuck do. We would also like to thank our sponsors and supporters. Chuck's Fabrication Shop, Nexen Tire USA, Vivid Lumen Industries, ADS Racing Shops, Coyote Enterprises Boltless Beadlocks, Dirty Life Race Wheels, TMR Customs, Clayton Off-road, and last but not least, Warren Industries. Go prepared. Chuck, how do you feel about your new haircut?
Man, it's gonna be awesome. Like, I got a new PCI helmet. It's an impact helmet. It's got these ear cups in it for so I can hear Corey better in the car. This current haircut will take care of some of the issues we had with my ears sitting against the helmet. They will be pushed right against my head with this haircut, as you can see, and no problems in the future.
What do you think about True North Racing?
True North Racing can suck my dick.
Episode 3, beer night with True North Racing. So another eventful evening of us bullshitting over video chat and trying to catch up and see what's new and what's going on. And tonight we have the pleasure of Chuck joining us. And,
Hi, Chuck.
Hello.
Yeah, if I don't know, if you don't know Chuck, figure out who he is and get to know him. Because he's your best friend and he's your he'll always be your biggest fan, and he'll also tell you when you're being dumb, and he's really fucking good at that.
Yeah.
Because I can't count the number of cars he's looked through and picked apart what's going to break during the race and tries to be ahead of it. So the background is Chuck, what was the first year? 2016 you came out to the race?
Yeah, I think it was 2016. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the first year when it was a red car. So yeah, it'd be like 2016.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, one of the questions we got for you is how did you connect? How did you connect with True North Racing?
I think I was friends with Russell on Facebook. I couldn't tell you how I met him anyway.
So the story is going to take a while because he just froze.
Yeah, he's probably still talking. Yeah, we didn't get any of that there.
Chuck.
Back.
Anyway, you and Russell were spooning and what?
Yeah, well, he linked me up with Alex, and then with not really much of a plan, I just said, yeah, I'll meet you on the lake bed with a truck full of tools. And then showed up. They were the only people that were there, and I just drove straight across the lake bed, honking my horn like an idiot.
I actually vividly remember sitting on the lake bed and you rolling up, and we're like, I think this is Chuck. And it's like, okay, I think we know Chuck. And
Who the fuck is this guy?
yeah. And he introduces himself as he does to most people. What's up, fuckers? Been on the road for, I think you had pretty much done a straight shot for it too, didn't you?
Yeah, straight to Vegas and then Vegas to lake bed.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of where this started. And I think we were halfway through installing the transmission again.
Yeah, we were just about to cut a hole in the firewall to get the top bolt.
Well, we already had the hole drilled in the firewall to get it out, and and Chuck comes along and just reaches up over the transmission and screws the bolt in by finger. And,
Long lanky arms.
Yeah. And we were like, how in the fuck did you do that? And yeah. And then we had some adventures. Waking up late for we missed the fucking set off for the cars.
Yeah, that's what happens when you drink Kraken all night. Yeah.
And we had to make our way to 2B. The one night we woke up and your tent had collapsed. And
the windstorm. Yeah, that's right.
Say, hey Chuck, yeah, you awake? Well, I am now. I'm like, your tent collapsed. I see that.
Yep.
So, I mean, lo and behold, your entire time down there, you had friends everywhere down there. So,
yeah, I get around.
Yeah. So, I mean, where did you get into this? Like, I mean, because the reach of people who know you, the connections you have, the people, the classes, I mean, you had, the tough truck guy there that year, and you guys went off-roading and with the what was that, a Blazer?
Yeah, with Bowman. Yeah. When I left the Army, I went to work for a shop that turned out to be not a very good shop, but it allowed me to meet a lot of people and I don't know, just practice stuff that I'd been reading about online and stuff. Long time ago, I was told if you're going to do something, be the best at it. So I don't claim to be the best, but I certainly give it a shot once in a while.
Yeah.
But
you're a good goddamn crew chief there, my son.
I mean, you do control the pits for us, and I think I mean, you're relentless. You control the pits. You control what's going on. You get people going to where they need to be. You get them set up, and I mean, you keep control of what's going on race day.
Try to anyway. It's can be a challenge. There's a lot of different personalities. Even between race cars, there's different personalities. So just knowing who the driver is, who the co-driver is, who's going to be in charge at each pit, and how to deal with those guys, because it's not always face to face. It's through radio that works and doesn't work. Sometimes it's just listening to what their voice is saying on the other end. It's one of those things.
Yeah. So Chuck's Fabrication obviously has sprouted. How long you been doing your own thing?
I started building Jeep bumpers and stuff, and I want to say like regularly in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And it's progressed now to the point where I have 3 full chassis builds going on in the shop and maintenance on a bunch of other ones.
Nice. I mean, growing business. I mean, a lot of people like you. I mean, you obviously know what you're doing, because I mean, again, everybody knows who you are, right?
Like I say, I try. I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but I try.
Yeah. No. We kind of tossed the idea around, and we got some questions for you here, and
good.
And trying to keep this as much as possible. But I mean, I think we got one question here, and it says, what's it like being a legend? And I kind of laughed at that when I saw that posted, and I'm like, Chuck, legend? I can see it. I mean, you won. It was a co-driver award, or
co-driver award at Havoc in 2018, 19.
19 was the last year you were there.
There you go. See, Doug's my personal calendar now.
Yeah, no.
Stats man.
A statistician. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had basically everybody at that race sit there and vote for you, because it was a vote for it, right?
Yeah, it was voted in. after the first day of competition, the attrition in the field due to the course was there was a lot of broken stuff, and people kept coming by and saying, hey, do you have one of these, or do you have this, or a way to fix this? And I would say about 90% of their stuff was answered that weekend. It was crazy. Couldn't believe it.
So you got 3 cars on the build right now.
Yeah, I got 3 that I'm first. Well, 3 that are being built. One that's just kind of a side gig, I guess, just for fun. But
Yeah. So what's your plans? What's in the works, or is this all top secret?
oh, no secrets with me, boys. Got a 4800 brink chassis that I'm putting together for myself. It'll be done in September some year.
Holy Jesus, look at this ugly fucker.
And oh Jesus. And I got the 9-day wonder build from last year, the virus. Really remarkably, I've had to put very little work into that buggy. We spent the day today tuning it with Neil from Horsepower Solutions here in Edmonton. And then I got another project that was started by, I don't know if you guys have heard of him from the Top Truck Challenge days, but Mr. OG himself, Dave Green. He started it, I want to say 4 years or maybe 5 years ago. And he's just decided he didn't want any more of it. So he passed it on to me. So I've got to blow it apart, weld it out, and plummet wire it, and firm up my drivetrain plans, I guess.
Yeah. Is that going to go for like a top truck, or like your Havoc races?
Yeah, I think it'll be more of it'll be a small tire class. Like, I think it'll be well, I say small tire, but it'll be a 44-inch bogger on it probably.
Yeah.
And it'll be all right. It'll be a good starter buggy for someone, I think. So
Nice.
Yeah.
McNeil, you're looking gray in the face. What's going on?
Life's racing, doing it to me. Too much life, not enough racing.
Fair.
This is what you get.
I feel that.
Yeah.
You gotta hook yourself up with Jay and see where he gets that Just for Men black that he's got in there. It looks really natural.
It's black black shoe polish. Just rub it in. It's fine.
It's a Kiwi squish on one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got out a bingo dabber and just dab it on.
So
Yeah.
with the cars you got going on now, Chuck, plans to race Ultra 4, plans to race King of the Hammers. Where are you hoping, or you got too many
Well,
on the go?
You're not allowed to race Ultra 4.
Well, you can race 4,400, John, 48.
I have to race. Well, I have a 4,400 seat already, Dougie. Remember?
Right.
So, yeah, I plan on racing my 4,800 car at least once at Hammers. I figured it out. It's going to be a barrel a lap, so whoever is fueling for me is going to have a really shitty day. But yeah, it's going to be all the horsepower, guys. I'm sorry. I hope Alex is out of the car by then and he could fill me up. I think
Make
that
those
would be
big crews work, man. They're just a bunch of
Yeah.
slackers most of the time anyway.
Exactly.
Well, unless you show up after making contact with a 4,800 car and fit too, then they got some work to do.
So you just get to cut body panels off. That's all. Sorry, Sheldon.
I found that today. I was swapping out my wife's winter tires, and it had fallen in behind the stack of tires, and I popped out and I was like, oh, there's the fender. It's the other half. I have
Perfect.
the other half that's signed by you, Chuck. And now I have the complete I have a complete fender. I'm gonna just got a big piece of duct tape and just put it back together, I think, hang it on the wall.
I would just use like a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
like a Spider-Man Band-Aid.
That's how you know he's a legend when one of the heroes of the stock class is so impressed he's got a signed fender from the legend, Chuck.
It's a whole other level of legendary.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you
I
know,
mean, I mean, I remember being told to run to the toolbox and grab the old wrenches in the bottom of the toolbox because we were going to weld the fair lead together to fix the winch, and it held up. It held up. We did the right job.
I think it actually got you a new winch, didn't it?
No, but it got us the
Or
parts.
parts.
The other one.
Yeah, parts. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I still have that fair lead with the wrench welded to it as well. Yeah.
All sorts of memories on your wall.
Yeah, I kind of have a bit of a pile of like shrapnel from like all the various. I've got a broken spring. I've got my old front axle sitting on an axle stand with a bunch of booger welds holding the center section together.
Perfect.
And all kinds of useless crap.
I still wonder whose Toyota that was that we stole the Fairlead roller off of. We got that roller Fairlead put on there, and then first time we went out to winch, it had lost the side roller, and right there on the trail there was this broken down Toyota with the axles pulled out of it. So I went down and with my handy Leatherman that I had with me and stole the one side roller off of it, but then it was missing a seat.
Borrowed.
Eh?
Not stole, borrowed.
Yeah,
And forgot to return.
It was definitely stolen. It was nothing to return. We didn't know who it was.
It was on a live race course. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Fucking
If your
intention to
trail
return it.
wheeler is on the race course on race day, she's fair game.
Yeah.
I sliced my finger open getting that thing off of there. It was brutal. I was bleeding.
I think it's actually in the rules that if there's a stock one on there on race day, it's fair game. I think it's actually in the KOH rules.
Wouldn't surprise me.
We needed parts. It was right place at the right time. Like it couldn't have been. We were waiting for these 4800 guys to get out of our way, so it didn't cost us any time while we were waiting. I went and grabbed the parts we needed, and away with it. It was pretty good.
Well, hopefully that guy sees this. If he does, we'll send him
The next strategy that I'm thinking of here is so we go out on the course the day before the race with a whole bunch of half broken, fucking beaten up rigs, but fill them with fuel and spare parts and just ditch them at the bottom and top of all the race, lock them up so nobody else can get in them. So then it just be hilarious if you walked up to a bagged out broken piece of crap and unlocked it, started getting fuel jugs and axle shafts. And
yeah, I'll show you guys.
Why is there Grand Cherokees all over the course?
Oh man.
I mean,
I just hope if I do race in that race that Alex doesn't pass me, because that would be embarrassing. But
yeah,
he does pass some people sometimes. It has been known to happen.
well, okay, but I mean, who would be worse, Alex, Damien, Lyndon, or Sheldon?
No, I think I'd hate to be passed by Alex the most. The rest of them, it wouldn't hurt me so much, but Alex, it would definitely hurt. It would really hurt if it was Joey that passed me, honestly.
That means a lot. Yeah, that would be even better. I think that would be the one thing. I'm actually I'm thankful that Joey gave up racing before he finished ahead of me in a race.
Joey passed us on the sand hill that one year. That sucked ass.
Yeah, I would have been punching Alex for sure from the passenger seat.
Well, the sand hill, it was clogged right full. So Alex does the same move he always does, goes to the right. You can't do it. Just wait till the left is clear because you can't make it up the right. But he tries the right. So here we are stuck in the right. We're backing down. There comes Joey. By then the track is cleared. So Joey drives right up it. So we had to go all the way back around, come back up. Then we blasted up and then we had to pass him again in the desert. But yeah, Joey totally passed us on the sand hill. So,
well, I don't know, Chuck, if you had heard, but Damien's acquired Joey's Jeep.
Yeah, he messaged me shortly after he did it, and he was quite happy with it. I was like, well, hopefully you can see over the hood, bud.
I'm sure he's gonna get 6-inch risers underneath that seat so he can at least see over the steering wheel. So, because I mean,
we're gonna get a phone book sponsor for Lyndon.
Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of fucking stickers made up, put them all over the cars.
Yeah.
Nice.
With the little, remember, is it the old logo with the little fingers doing the page thing? The yellow one? Is that what it was?
If we did it right on the drive down, I'm sure we stop at McDonald's enough. We could just get those hard plastic booster seats. Those work.
They still have those?
You know, like the brown ones.
oh yeah,
Molded to the kids.
and
That'd be a really rough
flip them
ride on one of
upside
those.
down depending upon how big the kid is, and
Exactly.
They already come pre-strapped with strap on them and everything.
Yeah, they'd have 2 anti-submarine straps.
not the worst idea. So with the build of your car, is this the time where we're going to be losing you as crew chief?
Well, like I said, I got to race it once. I mean, I'll find somebody for that year. How's that?
He's been training hands, from what I can understand.
Yeah, the old man's been spending some time in my shop. Yeah.
So is
learning the big tire ways.
I was gonna say, is he training hands to drive his car, or is he training hands to be the crew chief?
Crew chief, I believe.
Well, guys will just have to wait and find out, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you just gotta, Chuck. You just gotta get out ahead of everyone. Get ahead of us. Get to pit 2, hop out, and then fix all our shit as we go through, and then you just pass us again.
That is entirely possible. And like if I put a big enough tow rope on it, I could just get you to pit 2.
It's actually like
not crazy.
No, like I'm actually surprised that. Well, I guess it's the desert that gets everyone. It's like pit 2 isn't even like it shouldn't be tough to get to pit 2 because it's only like a couple of rock trails between, the start line and there. It's all desert, and that except for Cougar Buttes and maybe Backdoor or something like that, right? But it's amazing how many people don't get that far.
Well, I mean, a good strategy not to make it to pit 2 is to not drive over the boulders, split the 4-link in the back, and split the drive shaft right in half.
Or to not roll your car, that helps too, getting there.
These are all positive notes. I mean, Doug, and what trail was that where you were just hung right to hell?
That was an aftershock trying to pull you and Lindy into pit 2.
Yeah, that wasn't going that well either. And then when we decided to back out of the way and just let you go, and then you got yourself just right tangled in those rocks. And that's where Alex decided to try and give you a slight bump, and
that didn't go well either.
Tore the fender right off of the car, and his eyes just kind of didn't even flinch, and he goes, I guess we'll try something else, and just backs up. Sheldon gets out of the car, and you can see he's looks like he's just like, what are you guys doing? Like about to just start yelling, and then he's just like got the sling around his shoulder, and he's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do.
In Sheldon's defense, that's what he always does, though. He gets angry. He gets, what the fuck are you guys doing? Grabs the sling and just starts barking orders at everyone.
This is stupid. I can't even believe I'm seeing this. I see so much stupidity out there in those rock trails. It's ridiculous.
You think you'd be used to it working on oil rigs.
I cannot wait to be one of those stupid drivers. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, back to Chuck, the legend. There, he's back on my screen. So.
You've been on my screen this whole time.
Yeah. You love it.
I mean, so, we got to talk about a couple of, big events that's happened with True North Racing. So you've missed us 1 year since 2016 at KOH. I think you didn't make it down.
Yeah, and I ended up working that year instead. Yeah.
Yeah, and every other year you've made it down.
Bad decision.
I know.
Yeah. And I want to say the first year, you lost your temper at the wind because it was relentless and it wouldn't stop. The second year, you lost your temper for welding everybody's shit together that they brought half built to the lake bed. And then I'm pretty sure every year, except for 2020, 2020 went fairly smoothly, but you were busy because you're co-driving with Corey, right?
Yeah, in 0406, yeah.
Yeah. And so is that going to stay as continuing to co-drive with Corey?
So far it's we're working together pretty good, yeah. It's like everything. There's a turnover in racing, and who knows? A guy might not make it down 1 year or whatever. As long as he'll have me, I'll be there. Same as hanging out with you guys.
I mean, I will say, Chuck, you're more useful at Pit 2 than Jason is, because you did fix my car and Jason just moved me. So.
Well, you know, your car was pretty easy. Have you tried the OFF button? Especially, you know, the electronics these days, sometimes that's all these cars need is a little bit of a reset just to smarten up the computer.
250 degrees would help too.
Yeah, and then when it hits those temperatures, it tries to protect itself, right?
Yeah.
And it protects itself by limiting you on gear and or speed, depending on your setup. So that was just the first thing that popped into my head. Like I said, you'll know right away if it shifts. If it doesn't, just pull back in, bud. And then you cost me a case of beer.
I did do that.
And then you get mooned again. You're welcome.
Twice. Yeah.
Fucker.
So 4674, Joey's rig.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has to be your favorite rig out of all of our Jeeps, because I think you have the most welding on that car.
Least favorite, I think that would be the more.
No, I think it's his favorite.
You know, looking back at it now, it was quite amazing that we got it even to the start line. That, you know, that was a lot of work that week. Yeah, at the time I was a little bit angry because well, you guys had gone through the year before with a couple other rigs that were maybe not quite there, and you wrenched on them the whole time instead of enjoying the KOH experience, which is, you know, if you walk around, you can see a lot of different tech that guys are using that you don't get to see if you're underneath a car, you know? So, yeah, it's no joke. Like, if you're going down there, you should have your shit should be ready to go. It should be tested. And then, you know, if you have to fix minor stuff down there, then that's kind of what that time is for.
There's two rigs that we were putting together that year. We were both swearing at each other, like swearing together at the, like, why are we doing this? Like,
well, and the problem was when we had to use the same tool at the same time. You done with that? No, come on. But
well, we got through it. Angry.
You know, like, we got through it, and you know, I think having some random dudes show up in collared shirts and sunglasses helped that day. That was pretty entertaining. So, yeah.
Random dudes in collars and sunglasses.
Collared shirts and sunglasses, yeah. You don't remember that?
No.
I had some friends doing some training nearby that came to the lake bed, and somebody came up to me while I was under the car. There's two dudes here in collared shirts and sunglasses looking for you. I rolled out from under the car. Yeah, I'll be back in a while. And then that was that. Went for a walk with the boys.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some pretty good experiences. To continue talking about 4674, I mean, it didn't go back just with the large amount of welding you put onto that car, but it also came with new decaling pretty much on every inch and corner of it. And so one of the questions we had was, what is the obsession with decaling people's cars with dicks?
So that's, I don't know. Alex sent me an article on it, and it honestly goes back to Roman times. Soldiers have been doing it forever, so I guess I'm just no different than any other soldier throughout history.
Well,
soldiers like dick. So you're saying.
They've been drawing them ever since, yeah. So,
well, I mean, that car was covered in them. I mean, Lyndon's car. I'm pretty sure you got one on the Transpan before you put the bottom skid plate on.
That can't be confirmed or denied, but yeah.
Well, and then the follow-up question to that is, what has to be the most legendary escapade for drawing a dick on something or someone's car? I do know someone did bring up there is still a giant purple dinosaur out there that you agreed, and I do remember us doing a covert plan to try and figure out how the hell to get it on there.
Yeah, we were working on that one. It never
we
quite
didn't get
came to
that.
fruition because I think they must have got wind of it, took it down that day. But there was a plan. We were going to go and climb up the front of that semi truck and walk across that trailer while they were all partying and apply a certain tag. Yeah.
So what's your best? Who's out there unexpecting, or what's your best? Where do you think you're stealth? And you don't have to name names, cars, just what is the situation on that?
So I guess it would go back to my Army days, actually. When we were on a leadership course, we had to teach a lesson. And most of us had these metal clipboards, you know.
Yep.
You could like put papers in it and whatever. And some guy was teaching up there one day and he was having a hard time. You could tell when your buddies are struggling. Actually, I had one drawn, like I could probably find it if I looked hard enough around here, but there's like the fold up piece.
Yeah.
And I had a giant one, like I'm telling you, like 12 inches, veiny bastard. And honestly, I flashed it to him and he kind of like paused mid-sentence, kind of had a little bit of a smile. And then after that, his lesson went better. So, you know, it's not always about like fucking somebody over. It's actually about kind of helping them out sometimes. So it takes their mind off of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Encouragement.
Yeah.
With dicks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dick-couragement.
Dick-couragement. That's what we're gonna call it. Dick-couragement.
Dick.
It's coming out of you, Jason, who put 2 on my car last year.
There's actually like 7, just so you know.
Well, the only 2 I care about were the one on the GPS and on my gauge cluster. You're right in the fucking way.
Dick-couragement, brother. Dick-couragement.
And for the record, even after I washed it off, I could still see the outline of it.
Well,
that's the problem with dust is it makes a nice scratched indentation in there.
It's impressive.
well, I mean, I do remember walking around and gear oil
Yeah.
and nice clean cars, and in the middle of the night dipping your finger in the gear oil and doing some fantastic drawings. And the next morning, no one's the wiser. They come back from pre-running and clear as day, it is stuck to the side of the car. All the dust is stuck to the gear oil. So we've
Not
had some
just,
pretty epic
cars.
runs with that. I mean,
Trailers as well that had that treatment.
oh, the trailers got it as well, eh?
The trailers was more of a long game because there wasn't as much wind that year.
Oh, right. It was for the drive home.
Yeah.
No. You know, we got lots of stories. We got lots of adventures. What stands out to you that, to stick it out with True North? I mean, what makes us different? I mean, shit, we all hit it off right off on that first year, and we had some fucking huge laughs. And I mean, I know for some it's the bacon, fucking giant bacon bowl is what keeps bringing Joey back.
What would Chuck do? Let's get his
legendary status. What would Chuck do?
So we're gonna make that a T-shirt now. We got to get his Chuck
Yeah, what would
Fabrication
Chuck
logo and his what
That'll be the shirts for my car once it's rolling, I guess. You guys can all wear them when you pit for me. How's that?
Oh,
Well, if we're all racing on the same day, it's gonna be tough for us to pit for you.
That's
We'll
true.
always have somebody in the pits. All good. We got you, Chuck. Don't worry about that.
Oh, we got it set up too. I think Corey would probably take my place for that day, and then I jump in his car next day. That's probably
Yeah, they're back
I
to
mean,
back
unless he's got to sit in my passenger seat, but I don't think he's that crazy. So
now. He sat with Rick for nationals when he yard sailed it, so
that's true. But maybe that's why he doesn't like to be a passenger anymore.
that's probably a fair point.
Sorry, Ricky.
Being a passenger sucks. It sucks. I can't do it.
It's a different feeling for sure. Yeah, like when they asked me to sit in the passenger seat of that car, it was kind of like, well, okay, like I can do it for Havoc, like 9 minutes at a time is fine, but you're asking me to sit maybe potentially, 4 to 9 hours in this car and like trust your driving. And, it was definitely a bit of a learning curve for me. I guess it was a learning curve for both of us. Like we had never really worked together before that. It was more of we'd seen each other at races. Hey, how's it going? More drinking buddies than anything else. And then, when they called me, originally I thought it was going to be the black car that Rob Inglis owns now. And that was what I was planning on. And then he's like, we got to go to Vegas on the 24th of November. We got to go look at a car. And I was like, what? And then he texted me a picture of Nick Nelson's car, still yellow. He said, yeah, we're going to go look at this. And so the first time me riding, I guess, even in a Ultra 4 car was on a weekend trip to Vegas. And I jumped in Khaleesi and went for a ride.
Nice.
On the test drive. Then, rest, as they say, is history. They bought it and we flew back down there for a week, worked on the car, and then we came down a week early and picked it up and went to the lake bed. So,
I mean, the car was good. I mean, you guys obviously had issues, but I mean, pre-running was good. You guys were making time. Prior to it breaking, so you guys were moving.
That car is no joke. It is fast and it is smooth and it handles like a dream.
Yeah. The when you got the engine rebuilt in that thing, is it right back where it was, or?
We took it out to that winter tuning session that was done down at Tail Creek, and the motor felt great. We're not sure why, but we lost the rear pinion on the rear diff, and it could be from torque. It could be from the cold that day because it dropped to like minus 20 something.
That was cold.
It sucked. Yeah. And we're not sure what the final killer of the rear diff was, but the car has power. Like, it's incredible. Oh, look, it's Jordan.
Oh my God, he's got a white screen behind him.
He's wearing an old school hat.
He's probably
a Gen 1 hat. Look at him.
You hiding at work? Is this what's going on?
No, I just totally missed the times. I moved time zones too many times. Thought it was at 10:30 my time, but it was only at 9:30 my time.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, we were successful enough. We moved the time enough that it fucked up everyone that wasn't in the time zone. So.
Yeah, if we would have went 6:30, he wouldn't have been on here today.
Right.
So, another question for you, Chuck. I mean, we're trying to highlight here. I mean, you've done a ton of work for us. You've done a lot of, you got us into a lot of the right mindset for what we need to do to race, how we need to prep, the night before, how we need to be prepared, the tools, what we should be carrying for spare parts, what we should be looking for. What's your idea? I mean, we fed our own ideas of basically race prep, but where do you need to be competitive in racing where do you need to be prior to you getting to that race? What would you say would be the best avenue to kind of take that forward?
So like a race like KOH, the way I approach it is very much like we used to do missions overseas. So you're traveling a great big distance to go do a thing for a very short time. So as much as you can, you need to control your circumstances, right? Like if you know that the car is good, then you can start working on other stuff like reading the track or learning how to drive on rocks. Because let's face it, we don't have rocks like they have down there in Canada. Okay, maybe in BC, but that's a different conversation. But you know what I mean? Like if you can control as many of your factors, I guess, before you go, which the biggest one is the vehicle needs to win, right? Or needs to run, needs to move under its own power. You need to be able to fix it when you're down there. If you can control all that stuff, you have a higher chance of being successful when something actually does go wrong. Like a tranny goes out, or Joey hits a rock and blows a tire off the car, or you get rear-ended by some chick from Arizona. Like that's all stuff that you can't control before you leave. But if you go through the car and you nut and bolt and mark everything, then you know all the bolts are good. If you know your fuel's good, like you didn't pick it up in Palm Springs the day before, or you know what I mean? Like it's all controllable things until you reach something that's not controllable. Like for us, Bailey Campbell kicking a rock out in front of the Khaleesi and knocking our front tire off. Like it's just, you can't control that.
No, shit happens.
Yeah. And so you got to control everything you can control. And then the rest is kind of, hopefully you have what you need to react, I guess.
So, I mean, for a lot of our viewers and stuff like that, a lot of the list that Chuck has gone through is basically a lot of the things that we have decided to not follow. So, I mean, obviously bringing a car that barely ran under its own power onto the lake bed. I mean, bringing a car where the transfer case, fucked first pre-run on us and having to be replaced and find parts and wrenched on it. I mean, what other failures have we had? I mean, we had a front diff that was basically seized because it had no oil in it prior to being on the lake bed in its first pre-run.
What are we starting to do right, Curtis? You and I both brought cars down to test run before we entered the race last year.
Yeah.
So
Which was
we're
awesome.
learning from this stuff, and we are we're changing our ways. So I mean, you look at the past, and that's what happened in the past. And Chuck's right. This is what you have to do, and this is what we're starting to do. And I'm starting to get a lot of seat time in mine. I'm going to be very comfortable in that car when it comes time to race that race again. It's and you yourself, same thing with your side by side there. I mean, you're getting some seat time in. You're making sure you've got a quality rig to line up to do this race, right? And Alex's car, I mean, yeah, it's every year he's got more cracks to fix in it, but that thing performs. I mean, it's finished the race twice, right? Like it's good to go. Like he goes down there, he's relaxed. He's, car's good, nuts and bolts things, but other than that,
Relaxed.
Well, the proper word is drunk.
Yes.
I only get nervous when Chuck starts mixing me drinks. That's the only thing that makes me nervous down there.
Oh God.
Is it Chuck or Jordan mixing drinks? That's the problem.
So it should.
Don't worry, I'll mix you a drink. Oh God.
My vision finally came back.
The old man still gives me shit about that, even now. What did you do to him that night? Just mix him a drink. I mixed two of them. I drank the other one. Couldn't have been that bad.
he's an engineer though. He can't handle that shit.
Fuck you.
No, and Sheldon, you're definitely right. I mean, we've come such a long way. I mean, I remember the first year I went down, we budgeted it and we didn't get our own wedding tent idea to sit there and have the car in for the garage, and our makeshift tent had 7 different tarps on it, 2 tires, was screwed to the top of a deck trailer and on a lean-to on the aluminum, other trailer. We slept in tents behind behind it, and just got beat to death by the wind for 7 days. And race day, lo and behold, not a drip of wind, 25 degrees, and hungover as fuck, sitting at pit 2B with no food.
That spaghetti was delicious though.
The fucking spaghetti was the best thing I think I've ever eaten to date. I was so fucking hungry. But I mean, yeah, we learn, right? I mean, at least we're not stupid enough to sit there and come down with a busted car every time. You know, I think last year we were really prepared, right? Everybody was prepared, everybody was ready, and we had the transmission with a catastrophic on Lindens.
That's what happens when you let the crew chief test drive the car, by the way.
I mean, I remember you coming back in and you leaned over to me and you'd be like, you got a good Hans device, right? And I was like, why? And you literally said, that thing runs like a scared cat.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a lot of car. That is a wicked car. And
the best look on was on Dave's face. Was Dave Crow was with me, I think.
Yeah.
He was holding Neil's laptop. And he looked over at me and he said, have you driven one of these before? Nope. Ah! And then by the time I shifted the third one, I think his knuckles loosened a little bit on the laptop because he was just like, oh my God.
Havoc races. You were talking about your other chassis and stuff like that. So you got the virus. I mean, you built that in 9 days. How,
yeah,
like you pulled TJ in and it was one other guy, or was it just you and TJ?
So like I never had more than me and 2 guys at a time working on it. Kind of started, we were just looking at the chassis one day, me and my buddy Greg. I rent his shop and he drives the Barely Legal buggy. And I said, we had a little event that we were putting on just because we couldn't go race anywhere. So we were just kind of, you know, having a team event kind of thing. And I said, man, I should put together a buggy. At the time when I did the math, I thought I had 12 days, which still a lofty order. And he said, there's no way you can do it, but it would be sick. And I said, And I went home that night. I thought about it and I went through my list of parts that I have in the shop. And I sent some messages out the next day to, or I guess that night, to a couple of guys that I know. TJ Hart was one of them. You know, guys that I thought would be interested and that were local enough to come and do it. Just to see if they wanted to put in some time and see if a guy could actually pull this off. And I think the first 2 days I was in there by myself, just welding out the chassis and placing the suspension, or sorry, the axles and the links where I wanted them. And then, yeah, there's a couple dudes at a time showed up and put in days. There was, I think, 13 people total that worked on it. But like I said, it was me and 2 at a time, the whole 9 days. So.
No, I mean, we've also learned that, I mean, you can't have too many more than 2 at a time or 3 at a time working on a car. I mean,
yeah, unless they have a dedicated job, right? Like, the easiest thing for me when we were doing that buggy was I had a list on the whiteboard. I have like one of those big 4x8 whiteboards like you'd have in school. And I wrote down all the things that I thought we needed to do. And then, you know, as you're going, you're adding to that list. When you stop adding to the list is when you're getting close to being done. I would just look at the next thing on the list and, you know, it comes down to reading your guys again. Like, you know, I knew TJ is very meticulous for cutting things a certain way. And I knew he would be able to mount my bump stops right. So I said, okay, bump stops, go. And he went and he did the bump stops and made the mounts and whatever, made those parts. And then when he came back, the next thing was, I think, fuel cell for him, you know. And by the end I had Corey doing the interior of the car. He built the controls and stuff. And the only time I got in the car was like to fit. And then he did his measurements and I got back out. And then I didn't get in it again until race day. So
you raced that car?
Yeah, we raced it on Canada Day last year.
And how'd that turn out?
Well, you know, first place, of course, small tire class. Was to be expected. The car by no means met any tech. Like, there was no panels on it or anything, but it was a chassis. We had proper seat belts. We had fire extinguishers. Yeah, like really the only thing we were missing was probably panels to protect us from sticks and stuff, but do what you got to do.
Right. Got to have fun somehow, right?
That's right.
Now you're planning on continuing to sit there and race that car while you're building the other ones.
Yeah, well, it's kind of more of a, oh, I just want to see how long it lasts now. Like, I changed the tranny in it after that October race that last year, that tuning event there. And then, yeah, just we actually worked with the tuner today just to see if we could make it a little bit crisper. And I think we made some pretty good gains today. When 44-inch bogger is spinning on Rockwells from a 4.8 GM motor, I think we're doing okay. So, yeah.
You told me about the build of that motor. You're squeezing every ounce of power out of that motor, are you not?
It's, Neil said today there's not much more we can do to that motor. It's everything it'll do.
It's always good news too, right?
Yeah, well, I could get brave and put nitrous to it, I suppose, but I like the sound of it now, so I'll just leave it alone for a while.
I do have a question for Chuck, and I don't know if maybe you guys went over this before, but as far as like the crew chief position on the team, what do you do when it comes race day? Just so everyone knows, like what's your job? What's your mission? What's your goals on race day?
Honestly, like number one is it's got to be fun. So on race day, when we're lined up, I like to walk around to the cars and just check on the guys, make sure they're good to go, because everybody else has already got their stuff packed from the night before. When we had our pre-race discussion or whatever. Just like to walk to the cars and I see them off the line. Alex always looks over at me and winks his big blue eyes, and this year, it was super gay, but like there's always like last minute stuff that a guy can help tighten a seatbelt or whatever, and it just helps the guys at the line. And then when we're in the pits, it's just trying to maintain calm. Like you're just trying to, okay, let's control what we can control. And then if somebody's calm, it kind of has an effect on the guys around it. If somebody's running around spinning, screaming and yelling, then there's going to be more people doing that.
As far as organizing who does what on race day, like delegating jobs, that kind of thing. Like when a car comes into the pit, where do you go from there?
Well, I can't speak for pit one or Maine or anything, but for ours, usually we figure out who's there. Everybody that's there is an adult, so they know what their limits are. They know what their specialties are, whatever. You got guys that are there, they want to help, but they don't know very much. Like my buddy Mike from Calgary, he came up, he wanted to help, he wanted to be in there, but that was his first year at King of the Hammer. So for him to have a specific job, like, hey, you're going to fuel the car this way, you're going to wear this, you're going to hold the can this way, you're going to watch, and you're going to tell me when the fuel is this high up the neck. If a guy has a job that he knows that's his job, then it's easy to run that situation.
Makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like the last year that we were there, I was in pit 2 with you, and I was checking all the control arms and joints and everything underneath the car, and then someone else came right behind me and started doing it again, and I looked at him, I was like, I already checked all these. And he's like, oh, well, that sucks. I was like, well, yeah, they're fine. He's go away.
Redundancy though is not a bad thing, because I prefer to have somebody walk by and check what I checked, just in case I did miss something. Not everybody's perfect, and if I didn't see, if it was somebody that I told to do it, it's because I didn't see somebody under there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's situational. True. But if we have the plan beforehand, then it's like, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. If something happens, if we have to fix something, then it's easier for a guy to do his job and then say, okay, what's next? You know what I mean?
You
If
know,
everybody understands the jobs. And then,
we always try to strategically have people like with like a full range of skill sets at each pit. Like we're not going to put people at like a bunch of people that have never been at a pit before all to themselves, and then put like everyone that's been there 3 or 4 times at the other pit. So we usually try to spread around the skill sets and the experience level, so it works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Having somebody at each pit that knows how to weld, having somebody at each pit that knows, you know, wiring and electrical kind of stuff, right? Like just stuff like that you got to think about. So
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
How to flare minutes. Happens.
There's a
Probably
difference.
still leaks probably though, but
No, it's not. It's still on there too.
There's a big difference in pitting when you're expecting a routine pit stop of a once over the car, a refuel, a quick snack to the driver and out the door. And then Alex or I pull into pit 2 and the front of our car is absolutely fucked from trail we just came out of. We're like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do with this thing?
yeah.
The trail
like
we
I
just
said,
came out of.
you still have to do all those other things, like make sure the car's fueled, the driver and co-driver get a water and a snack, but then you got to get to work on the other stuff. So
That's the biggest thing. Don't forget to have somebody there with water bottles and straws for the drivers. Because they're sitting there, everybody's looking at the car. We're sitting there going, I'm thirsty. Give me some water.
yeah,
like that's a big thing that gets overlooked, right?
Curtis and I that first year at pit 2A and then over at 2B. When Alex and them got out of the car and we were trying to figure out the lifter situation there or the rocker situation.
I mean,
and I was like, I have this box of dry granola bars, and Curtis was like making them eat them. And Lyndon was trying to get in the car. I was like, go over there, drink that water, eat that thing. Because you just sat in the car and you just got abused, man, for 4 hours. Like, it's the only way to put it. You need to take that control from people sometimes and just say, okay, we got this. Go stand over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally do. You get out of that race car and it's just like there's so much going on. You just
Yeah.
Well, it's really like it actually is good to know that, like, because like we've got enough experience at the pits for the most part. Like, I can get out of the car and I don't really have to worry about it. Like, I know that they're gonna put fuel in it. I know they're gonna check all the control arms and that kind of shit. I can walk away for a second, go take a leak, have a snack, get a drink, come back. I don't got to worry that like nothing's been, that there's just a bunch of guys standing around the car going, what should we do?
Yeah.
Like we're past that part.
Bunch of Hank Hills. Yeah.
Well, I remember we fucking got this, boys. We got this.
Well, I remember the year TJ's first year, he came down just to kind of help us out and pit and everything like that. And we're running parts all over the place trying to figure it out. And TJ's like, what do I need to do? And there is a picture of Chuck, because TJ had his camera, his GoPro on his chest, basically yelling at him and pointing at the top of the hill. And he literally said, get to the top of the hill, get a hold of Brink and see what parts these guys can take to him.
Yeah.
And TJ ran to the top of the hill and realized he forgot the radio, had to come back down the hill, grab the radio and run back up the hill to try and get communications before we buttoned everything up and sent you guys off to continue racing. And I mean, that year worked out good. We had the dirt bike and we were able to rip parts across the desert, which worked out really good. Last year, I know Jay was doing a bunch of running around when we were trying to figure out how the hell we could get up, with front wheel drive in the car to see if we can get it to 2B or to pit 2. And he was running to get the drive shaft for us. And
yep,
I mean, those support
it was the wrong drive shaft, but fucking make it work.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was it's all those little things you forget about.
I mean, even controlling the situation. The first year Lyndon had the car out, his car, and we rolled, and we heard you clear as day, and we were 100 times the distance that pit 1 was. And it was like, okay, what do you need to get the car back in the race?
Yeah.
A whole new rear diff. Everything else is good.
Okay, your race day is done.
And you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. The first time I met Chuck. Jordan is like, he's kind of abrasive. I'm like, well, I'm kind of abrasive.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So
now I
Chuck looks
appreciate
at
the
me.
abrasiveness.
What's
Great.
that?
I said, now I appreciate the abrasiveness.
Right. It's good. So Chuck looks at me and he's like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, I'm Jay. Who the fuck are you? Put my hand out, shook his hand, and he's been a good friend to have around. And good.
What was my next words? Get the fuck to work.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
He says, no, I'm not real good at that. I'm just here to make jokes. That's about it.
And yell at Dave all day. Well, Chuck, from True North Racing, we can't thank you enough for the support. We can't thank you enough for coming out to all these races. I mean, you have made it happen for more than one of these rigs. You've put time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into these cars. And I mean, the payback that, we want to give to you is making sure that, we're tossing your name out there as much as possible. We think you're an amazing, addition to helping us run this team. And we've learned a lot from you. And I mean, those who are listening, I mean, Joey, not everybody's listening, but, those who are listening are paying close attention and making sure they got their shit together when they get down to the lake bed. So, thank you. I mean, thank you for the support. Thank you for coming out all the time. Thank you for being you. And, you truly do make this race team work for us. It's a
Thank
big
you
gap
guys
coming out
for
there.
giving me the opportunity. I mean, you guys took a chance just like I took a chance driving down the first year, right? So it could have went the other way. It could have been a giant shit show and we could all hate each other now. So
Well, still a giant shit show. It's just,
well, yeah, but we like each other. It's weird. Except for
Hey,
Alex.
you speak for yourself. I fucking hate all of you guys. It was
All right. I got a question for you guys.
Oh, fuck.
What's more memorable? My history lesson around the campfire or the haircut?
oh fuck, I loved your history lesson. I am still laughing about the history
I can't believe we
lesson.
haven't even talked about this yet.
Yeah, I think the history lesson was probably the more epic of those two situations.
So the history lesson. So I mean, shit, it was still, the wind hadn't picked up yet. It was still early on, and we had Poor Boys, Brian Hayes, and
The guys with that Bronco.
The what?
The California guys with that Bronco that were
Guys
next
that
to
were
us.
with, yeah.
The 312 glove sponsored guys.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember how we got on the topic of it.
We were just drinking around the fire, and like this was the first time Chuck, first time he came down right with us. So we only met him. I don't know. I forget what day it was, but let's say we only knew him for a day or two at the time, right? So, but yeah, then it got real serious.
Well, they said something. I don't even remember what they said now, but they were given no two words about it that the White House was burnt down in 1812.
And it literally went, well, fuck, we burnt your White House down.
Yeah.
And
I looked at Hans and I said, tell him, old man, you were there.
And it got quiet. And the one guy literally looked at Chuck and he goes, why would you even say something like that? And he was offended. Like
America.
He was right to the bone offended. And it just got quiet. And I just remember Chuck's going, well, it happened. Didn't you guys learn your history? Yeah. In the War of 1812, we came down there and we burnt the White House down. And the guy's like, you just stop. He's like, I can't even deal with this. And then the guy left. And I want to say Poor Boys and Brian Hayes and his crew were sitting there, and they just kind of started laughing, and they're like, whatever, the fire's warm over here. And they just kept drinking with us all night.